የሱራን ልጆች ሆይ እናንተ ለኔ እንደ ኢትዮጵያ ልጆች አይደላችሁምን ይላል እግዚአብሔር።
Okay, it's been a little while. It's been a little while in coming, but we wanted to do something on the star. The star, and basically this is under the category of geometry, or for us in our studies, sacred geometry. I don't know how many of you are familiar with that subject matter, but it's under the subject matter of geometry, which come under the subject matter of science, mathematics. So this is mathematical, so we're dealing with facts here, not dealing with superstition or a lot of the stuff that you may have been led to believe, that one star is inherently evil or another star is inherently good. Neither of them are inherently good or evil. It's like fire. We use the fire example very much. Is fire good or evil? Well, it all depends if you got burnt by it. If you got burnt by it, like a child or someone may think that it's evil, even though fire comes in many forms. There's many forms of fire. To get into that, we'll be, we'll be getting more into science, because there's different kind of fire. So much the fire burn. What kind of fire? You understand? If you understand what I'm talking about scientifically, you know there's many kind of fires. There's electronic fire. There's emotional fire. There's liquid fire. There's fire that's fueled by gases. There's fires that can combust based on solids. So there's all kinds of fire. But there's an individual named Gizzle Gangster. Gizzle Gangster. We didn't even check out the person's YouTube page, but we did check out their comment and want to share this with you and briefly articulate a couple of basic facts, substantiated factual points that need to be borne in mind. First of all, let's deal with what Gizzle Gangster says. Gizzle Gangster said about 1 day ago, and this was in a response to evildoers took the Lion of Judah off of the flag of Ethiopia, and it featured a clip of Black Uhuru's song "Leaving to Zion," or if I was leaving for Zion, leaving to Zion. Anyway, Gizzle Gangster says, "Hey buddy, why are you misinforming the people and twisting the truth to fit your propaganda? First of all, the star on the Ethiopian flag is not Baphomet or an evil pentagram. You inverted the star on our flag upside down, disrespected us, and claimed that the star is of Baphomet. Well, the meaning is totally different, okay, buddy? The star on our flag is an ancient spiritual symbol which represents man and the spirituality of man. It is a holy symbol, but people like you will take that," and then they continued saying in the next post, "holy symbol inverted, making it evil and opposite of good. What you are doing is like inverting the cross upside down and telling us that the cross is evil. Brother, please research before you post some propaganda about the Lion of Judah. Will that symbol as evolved from Christian to universal? And so if people adjust the image to fit their culture, you should appreciate them for trying to preserve their Ethiopianness, not hate on them because they are Muslim." Now, we took great umbrage to that. It's a lot of things that was said there. First of all, we grew up in a household that was half Christian and half Muslim, grew up speaking Quranic, Arabiya Fusa, so forth and so on, as well as studying the Bible and the Hebrew. So we don't really have these kind of misconceptions like a lot of your tribalists and your country, so-called countrymen do. But let's get into what you said, because we only have a small time in this pod right here, and we don't want to spend a lot of time on what you said, because you really didn't say too much, even though you attempted to put it forward very convincingly. First of all, we're not dealing with propaganda. We're dealing with public relations, all right? Not propaganda. If you say public relations, we could agree with you, but you're using propaganda to make it seem like it's a bad thing. You understand? Well, if propaganda is a bad thing, then let's say we're dealing with propaganda. We're dealing with the star that's on the flag. The star that's on the flag of Ethiopia has more to do with Baphomet than some kind of imaginary idea of the star and spirituality. You're deriving that out of davinci. You understand, out of davinci and Vitruvian man, the whole thing about Vitruvian man, which is a 5-pointed star. But let's give you some facts about the 5-pointed star that's on the flag of Ethiopia. The 5-pointed star that's on the flag of Ethiopia was not put there by you people, you Ethiopians. You see, your thing is our flag. You're taking possession of something that in the art of statecraft was placed on the flag by others. It was not a symbol that y'all voluntarily chose. Did y'all have a democratic election and democratically say, well, what symbol do we want on the Arengwade Beach A? Which symbol do we want on there? Do we want this symbol or that symbol? And there was a big vote and everything. Y'all didn't even vote for what kind of flag y'all have. You understand? So when you talk about democracy, you understand, you really are dealing with demon crazy and democracy. And when we talk about that star on the Ethiopian flag, we're pointing out the statecraft, you understand, that was behind the placing of that symbol on the flag. And if you understand who's in charge of the God of this world and the statecraft that's behind it, then you'll recognize that it has a Baphomet relationship to it, basically. Yovas. Now, let's deal with something else about this. You say something, you say we disrespected y'all and the star is saying it's of Baphomet, the meaning is totally different. Okay, buddy, well, what's the meaning? You say that the meaning of the star on your flag, or the perverted flag of Ethiopia, is an ancient spiritual symbol which represents man and spirituality of man. You're half correct. It actually represents the upright star, the non-inverted star. It represents femininity. It represents the female. The 5-pointed star is an ancient symbol that represents the spirituality of woman or of the upright female. When you invert the star, you know what I'm saying, that is turning woman, humanity, nature on its head. If you look at the Ethiopian picture today, you know what I'm saying, with what's going on in Ethiopia today, if you look at the history of Ethiopia, something or someone through the art of statecraft, which is very much similar to witchcraft, has turned Ethiopia on its proverbial head. Let's talk about the spirituality. Look in Ethiopia, you see some of the oldest pictures or the paintings of Black Jesus, of Black Mary. When you go in the catacombs, they just found a new church the other day in Ethiopia. They dug it up and they showed the pictures in there. You see all the pictures of reddish brown to dark skinned Ethiopians. And this church goes back to the 4th century. Now, if you go in a modern Ethiopian church or in a lot of the churches today, if you look at the pictures, basically they are Roman Catholic Jesuit paintings, Caesar Borgia's images that you have up in your churches. There is some conflict. Let me ask you this. Show me the 5-pointed star in Ethiopian culture. Can you show, I'm talking about ancient culture. Can you show me the 5-pointed star in ancient Ethiopian culture? Let's go back to the manuscripts, the Burana, the texts, and let's see where the 5-pointed star is in the text. Which star would you find more in relationship and association with ancient spirituality of Ethiopia? You will find the 6-pointed star. Now, bringing us to the 6-pointed star, as the 5-pointed star represents the upright, non-inverted 5-pointed star represents woman. 5-pointed star inverted represents woman, nature, the powers of nature inverted. This is why you have global so-called warming, really, which is global harming based on global sinning. This is why we have these conditions of pollution destroying the earth going on by these globalists, conspiratorialists, Illuminati, so-called Freemasons, and all the rest of this clique that want to rule the world, reduce the population, take over Ethiopia, you overstand Africa, turn y'all into slaves, and y'all doing a good job at it. And when ones like us warn you about it, you'll have this false pride that's based on a lie. Get with the truth and with the facts. But when we compare the 5-pointed star, which represents upright, represents the upright woman, you understand? Let's say the 5-pointed star represents Sarah or Sarah. You understand? And the six-pointed star represents Abraham. Now, if you notice about the six-pointed star, it represents in ancient Ethiopian, ancient Hebrew, and in the ancient world, it represents man and the spirituality of man. Not like the so-called davinci code.
ልጆች ሆይ እናንተ ለኔ እንደ ኢትዮጵያ ልጆች አይደላችሁምን? ይላል እግዚአብሔር።